The Carolina Hurricanes took care of business against Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks earlier in the week. Find out who were the six different goal scorers, as well as what is next for the Hurricanes in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of the day. Now, earlier in the week, the Carolina Hurricanes took on the Chicago Blackhawks and took care of business 6-3. And what the crazy thing about this was, and one of the things I loved most about this game was the fact that they had six different goal scorers. Obviously, you see six goals, you think, oh wow, good chance someone may have had a hat trick. No, no, not at all. But yeah, this was absolutely fantastic. And something that I hope the Hurricanes continue, because I always love when they spread the offense around. I think it adds a little bit of a wild card element to their game, especially, obviously, I know Chicago is not a good team this year, but especially like their next games against Florida Panthers, being able to spread the offense around like that is something that I think could really benefit them because they may be focusing over on Sebastian Aho, but Jesper Fast is wide open over there, and when you have something like that where every guy can be a threat, I think it makes them a very dangerous team. And in this game, you had Michael Bunting, Martin Necas, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Sebastian Aho, Brent Burns, and Jordan Martinook all notch up goals in this game. And each goal had something interesting to go along with it too. It wasn't just, oh, this guy scored a goal. Every single one of them that had something attached to it in some form or fashion. And I really want to dive into that because honestly, it was really interesting. You going down, and looking at all the stuff, I'm like, wow, really? But obviously, Michael Bunting, being the first goal scorer, of course. And before we do dive into all of that, the Hurricanes were going against their former goalie Peter Mrazek in this game, and I've said before, when they've gone against Mrazek or Reimer or Nedeljkovic or just any of their former goalies. That definitely plays a factor into the game. Now it has been a little bit since Peter has played for the Canes, so there are definitely a lot of faces here that he did not play with. But they're obviously the heavy hitters are still there. Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Teuvo Teravainen, guys like that, they're still here. Um, and he's going to know how to prepare for those guys, prepare for the hurricane, for a potential hurricanes game plan. Yeah, and that's something that you kind of see across sports, whether it be football, basketball, hockey, whatever. Someone that used to play for a team in recent memory, obviously not 10 years ago. Lots going to have changed at that point, but he knows like how things operate here for the most part, and how players operate for the most part. Again, things have changed since he was here, but he's gonna have a little bit of an edge in preparing. And then again, so are the Hurricanes. They're going to know Peter's strengths and his weaknesses. So that's something that always I feel is worth mentioning in these because it's always, interesting, for me to see how that goes, and who can kinda get the upper hand on their former teammate. But again, Michael Bunting, score opened up the scoring for the game, and it took a while, for the Hurricanes to be able to get something past Peter. Again, he kind of knows what to expect from them. They had 9 shots in about the first 9.5 minutes, so almost a shot per minute there. So really testing Peter early, and their first goal didn't come till almost 12 minutes into that first period. So they had to work for it. It wasn't like the other game, who was it against? Believe it was Arizona. It was against where they ended up getting up on the board really, really early on in the game. It wasn't like that at all. They had to work for it here. And then of course, um, and on Michael Bunting's goal, it did come from a very nice setup from Martin Necas from behind the net. It really took some magic there for him to get it to go through, and it was on a nice, really backhand shot from Michael Bunting as well. And then, of course, one that a lot of people, or excuse me, that was the first goal in the first period, and the lone goal in the first period again, coming almost 12 minutes into the game. And the second period is really where the floodgates opened up for the Hurricanes. Martin Necas, who we just talked about a little bit ago, him having a 2-point night here. His goal came unassisted there in the second period. That was his second goal in 3 games and ninth point in 6 games. So he is playing some really good hockey right now. And I think it's really going to be something that the Hurricanes are going to look for them to be maintaining, or that level, or at least near that level. Obviously, it's not going to stay there the whole time, but they are definitely going to want to keep a guy like Natchez, a guy like Jarvis, a guy like Teravainen, who guys that are, starting to heat up a bit. Right now, that's good. Being in this back half of the season, they're really going to want to be maintaining these going into the playoffs, because that's going to be really, really big, because there's going to be some really, really tough competition, and it's only going to get tougher in the playoffs. You guys know that. So again, Nature's second goal in 3 games, ninth point in 6 games. But again, we did have 2 more goal scores there in the second period, and as well as 2 more altogether in the game for the Hurricanes. And we will dive into those right after this quick break, folks. No, folks, grocery bills are so expensive these days, but now they don't have to be. Start getting cash back on your grocery shopping with the free Ibotta app and get cash back every time you shop. Ibotta is a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries, beauty supplies to toys. So make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 a year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip. So you can buy that flight you've been eyeing, that game you've been dying to go to, or that fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much, but with Ibotta, you just add your offers in the app, upload your receipt, and you get real cash that you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Join over 50 million users and earn cash back every time you shop with over 2,700 brands and retailers, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and many more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code Locked On NHL when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back, and use the code Locked On NHL. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code Locked On NHL, folks. Now, going back into the game for the Hurricanes, again, we had Michael Bunting notch up the first one, Martin Necas get the second, then Jesperi Kotkaniemi got his first goal since December 19th. It has been a very long road for him to get back on, to get the puck in the back of the net again. This has definitely been a point of contention for a lot of folks for a while now. So for him to get that monkey off his back, I think is going to be really beneficial. Let's hope he can build off of that. Because they're going to need him come playoff time and just down this stretch of the second half of the season. Like I mentioned, guys like Necas, Jarvis, Teravainen, these guys that are heating up right now. Heck, Spencer Martin as well. He's definitely heating up and playing well for the Hurricanes. Guys like this that are heating up and playing really well, they're going to want to maintain that. And Jesperi Kotkaniemi, if he can build off of this, get some confidence off of it. I know he's obviously not going to have like a goal or night or anything like that, but just like every few games, like we can see him put the puck in the back of the net, or be out there, making some really good plays. You look at a guy like Drury. He isn't necessarily one that's, getting a whole lot of puck luck with putting the puck in the back of the net, but he's making up for it in other ways. He's setting up guys really nice. Gosh, what game was it? I think it was the one against is one of the Vegas Arizona games, where, or was it their last? No, it wasn't this one. It was one of the Vegas Arizona games where he had 3 assists. Like, oh, I can't get it to go in the back of that. Okay, I'm going to set this guy up for it. He's making really good defensive plays as well. So you look at something like that, like let's hope Kotkaniemi can build off of this and gain some confidence back into his game. Then, of course, we had Sebastian Aho add another goal there in the second period. He is now the first Hurricane to 20 goals this season. And on that one, much like Necas setting up Bunting really, really well in earlier in the game in the first period. Andrei Svechnikov had a great assist on this Aho goal. And then, of course, again, these Necas, Kotkaniemi, and Aho goals all coming in the second period. Chicago did end up notching one here in the second. Ended up going into the third period being up 4-1. But again, all of these goals kind of had something attached to it, which is crazy. You don't see that quite often. Burns power play goal, the Hurricane special teams, it's rolling. It's rolling. Well, for the most part, we're going to get the rest of that here in a second, folks. Then Jordan Martinook, his empty net goal. That was his 9th or 10th goal of 2024, and I believe he is now still leading the Hurricanes in goals in the new year. It is, approaching the end of February right now, so for him to still be leading, that's kind of crazy. But again, loving it regardless. But again, I did say the Hurricane special teams did falter a little bit. Their penalty kill was not as lights out as it normally is. They went 2 for 4 on the penalty kill tonight, or in this game against Chicago. So that was very odd. You don't see that too often from the Hurricanes penalty killers, of them having a game like that. But kudos to Chicago for being able to capitalize on Hurricanes mistakes like that. Because that doesn't happen too often. Folks rarely get 1 goal on the Hurricanes penalty killing in one game, much less 2 in one game. And then, of course, Connor Bedard came as advertised. He's number 1 overall pick for a reason. factored in on all 3 goals in some form or fashion. He had an assist on the first one, um, and then I believe he scored the first of the 2 power play goals, and then had an assist on the other one. So, kudos to him. Heck of a game by him. Yeah, even in a loss, that's something positive for them to take away from that. They're franchise or their new franchise player is coming in as advertised, still doing things even in losses. But Spencer Martin, he got the start yet again in this game. I'm still enjoying what I'm seeing from him. Yes, this was the most he's allowed, I believe. As I reckon in his 3-4 games, I believe it is. As a Cane, 4 games as a Cane. It was his third in a row. But he's still playing really well. Only allowed 1 goal at even strength. Both the others coming on the kill for them. So definitely, obviously, want him to bounce back from that because up until then, through those first 2 periods, the Hurricanes were playing really good. Again, they faltered a bit there in the third, but they hung on, got the win. That's a really good thing for them. And of course, again, I am of course enjoying what we're seeing from Spencer Martin. This is what he had to say, and this was also his first win uh, or his first game on home ice and his first win on home ice. He was asked about it, saying, quote, "It's a great feeling, but I feel like I still have a lot to prove. I'm just really enjoying playing with these guys." The crowd was loud. The first couple of saves early on the penalty kill, they went nuts. It's a pretty cool feeling, end quote there. Yeah, so I do love that he still kind of has that mentality that he has a lot to prove. And it's not just like, oh heck yeah, I'm playing really good. Like, no, I can still be better. And I deserve to be in the mix. We're going to talk about that later on in the week of where he fits into the mix. But the fact that he still feels he has stuff to prove, it's going to be really interesting to see how he continues to maintain this level, the level he's playing at, and can he take it to another level? Because the competition, yes, he did play well against Vegas, but Arizona is not Vegas. Chicago is not Vegas, and Vegas is not Boston. It's not Florida. It's not some of these teams that are even better than them. Um, so they're not Vancouver either. Vancouver's number 1 team in the league right now. So the competition there is only going to get tougher come playoff time. And can he rise to the occasion there? And the fact that he still feels that he has stuff to prove, and a lot to prove, according to him. I'm enjoying that. I want to see where he takes it. We'll see, where things go over these next couple weeks for him. Sebastian Aho was asked about Martin's play. He's saying, quote, "Unreal. He's played 3 games and he's been ready whenever we've needed him. He's been a big part of these 3 wins, and I'm just happy for him," end quote. So, yeah, he's playing really well, really good hockey. But yes, Rod Brind'amour was also asked about the game and saying, quote, "Tonight was really good because for 2 periods, I thought we played really well. I was worried about how we were going to start just with the long travel back east and everything. I thought we did a really nice job." Again, they did. They had a really good game, plain and simple. And I'm really hoping that they can continue the momentum that they've built over these last 3 wins against Arizona, Vegas, Chicago. I'm really hoping they can keep this stuff going because now's the time to get hot. You're in that second half of the season. Playoffs are going to be here before we know it. Heck, trade deadline is going to be here before you know it. So we'll see how things end up shaking out for them there. But I do want to get into the stars of the game as well as what's next. And frankly, all the guys that recorded points for the Hurricanes in this game, because oh boy, there were a lot. And I think they all deserve mentioning. And we will dive into those right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, we're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. So with leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets, folks. So join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at indeed.com/locked on. Just go to indeed.com/locked on right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/locked on. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Now, stars of the game here. I think the official stars of the game were honestly the ones I would go with here. With the third star being Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Again, I think getting his first goal in so long. I think that was really big for him. Again, I really want to see if he can build off of that. He's got the monkey off his back. It's that's done. He's got the goal. And let's see if he can build off of that. He's gonna have a tough game up next against Florida. Um, so, does it happen? Does he get another one there? I don't know. But I really want to see him build off of this, whether it be, putting goals in the back of the net, or setting guys up, for goals, kind of like we're seeing from Jack Drury. And I just really want to see him continue to build off of this. That's going to be big. Second star of the game, Martin Necas. Can't go wrong there. He also had a 2-point night. A goal and an assist. So loving that from him. First star being Sebastian Aho, also 2-point night, goal and an assist. And then, as I mentioned earlier, with him, he's the first Cane to 20 goals this season. Then also with Necas again. That was his second goal in 3 games, ninth point in 6 games. So, yeah, he's hot right now. So, yeah, I think they got the stars right. I kind of agree with all of them. If there was a fourth star, I'd say Seth Jarvis. He had 2 assists tonight. He's been arguably the Hurricanes' best player in the new year. So again, gotta shout him out there too. But I did want to mention all of the guys that tallied points for the Hurricanes, and what they did. We'll mention that as well. And they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different guys register points in this game. So that's crazy. But they had, and we're going to go, from top to bottom, chronological order. They had Michael Bunting with a goal, Martin Necas an assist and a goal, Jack Drury an assist, Jesperi Kotkaniemi a goal, Dmitry Orlov, an assist. Teuvo Teravainen, an assist. Sebastian Aho, a goal and an assist. Andrei Svechnikov, an assist. Jesper Foss, an assist. Seth Jarvis, 2 assists. Jordan Martinook, a goal. I totally forgot to write down Brent Burns. He had a goal. And then Jordan Stahl, an assist as well. Yeah, they had so many guys register points in this game, and like I said at the top of the episode, that's one thing I love about games like this, because there's so many guys can be a threat on the team, and they're spreading the offense around, and it's going through everyone. It's not just funneling through these 1 or 2 guys. It's a group effort, and I love seeing that. And yeah, in a game like this, when you got all these guys contributing, I'm gonna love it. But next up, it is going to be a tough one. They do have the Florida Panthers tonight. We're going to preview that later on today. 7 p.m. at home. It's Pride Night. It's their second straight home game. It's gonna be a really, really tough contest, folks. And we're going to dive into that in the next episode. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. Following along on socials at LO_Hurricanes, myself at Jared Ellis _96. Subscribe on YouTube. Let me know what your favorite goal from this game was on socials and in the YouTube comment section. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. And as always, folks, let's go Canes.